Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander, 479th Flying Training Group, Colonel William O'Brien.
Warriors with an extraordinary ability to interpret the environment and apply high-tech systems on an increasingly complex battlefield. Leaders synchronizing our U.S. Air Force diverse technologies ingrained with inherent skills to sense, target, and attack. This is what you were trained to do. Our 18 newest graduates to be combat system officers. Good morning. It is an extraordinary honor to be here introducing and congratulating our 18 newest aviators, integrators of the electromagnetic spectrum, sensor, and weapons operations. Admiral Kozad, Captain Sturls Gillum, thanks for your continued and unwavering support through our U.S. Air Force mission, allowing us to hold our graduation in this magnificent Naval Museum of Naval Aviation, and that's the National Museum. Captain Mike Denkler, with the Dedalians, thanks for your dedication to our graduates. Our special guests, Colonel Bush, Colonel Zuzella, and Chief Hernandez, thanks for being here as well. To our honorary squadron commanders, Debbie, Sarah, Jeff, Mark, John, and George, thanks for being here, and thank you for your dedication to our airmen and our mission, strengthening and connecting our airmen to the great Pensacola community. To the instructors and staff, thank you for your daily teaching to these graduates and for those who follow. Your flexibility in challenging times, and special thanks to your resilience and your willingness to adapt to the continuously improving training program that we have, accelerating change for our U.S. Air Force. Squadron commanders, we can't do this alone. Lieutenant Colonel Armandi, Lieutenant Colonel Mayfield, Lieutenant Colonel Meyer, Lieutenant Colonel Johnson, and our Director of Maintenance, Mr. Bushnell. It takes 5 squadrons to get our students across this line up here. Thank you for your leadership. Friends and family, we don't achieve anything in life alone. You are a large reason these graduates sit here today, achieving a major milestone in their professional and now aviation careers. To the spouses, you earn these wings as well. Thank you for your sacrifice, understanding, and commitment. You are the unsung heroes and the foundational advantage to our U.S. military strength. To the students, your journey here was not an easy one. We challenged you in many aspects, and you persevered. This is only the beginning. Our Air Force and our nation need you. We are honored today to have an extraordinary senior leader with a diverse portfolio of experience. He is an inspiration to all of our diverse capabilities and people, a driving force to solidifying our U.S. Air Force team. He is responsible to the Deputy Chief of Staff for Intelligence, Surveillance, Reconnaissance, and Cyber Effects Operations for policy formulation, planning, oversight, and leadership of the U.S. Air Force Electromagnetic Spectrum Enterprise. A 1996 graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy, graduated pilot training in 1998 from Euro-NATO jet pilot training, a first assignment instructor pilot and check section pilot, served as an F-16 mission commander, instructor pilot, and flight examiner for the 35th Fighter Squadron, Kunsan Air Force Base, Korea, the 22nd Fighter Squadron, Spangdahlem Air Force Base, Germany. Was an adversary tactics pilot with the 64th Aggressor Squadron at Nellis Air Force Base, and he served on the U.S. Air Force Air Demonstration Squadron, the Thunderbirds, Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada. He holds a Master of Business degree in Business Administration from Midwestern State University, Wichita Falls, Texas, a Master of Strategic Intelligence, National Intelligence University, Bolling Air Force Base, Washington, D.C., a Master of National Security Strategy, National War College, Fort Leslie, J. McNair, Washington, D.C., and a graduate of the Senior Executive Education, Harvard Kennedy School, Cambridge, Massachusetts. He has served on various staff positions, including aide-de-camp to the commander, U.S. Air Force Warfare Center, Division Chief, Senior Leader Management Headquarters, Air Combat Command at Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, and the Command Electronic Warfare Officer, the Deputy Division Chief, Information and Cyberspace Operations at U.S. AFRICOM in Stuttgart, Germany. He's a Senior Executive Officer to the Vice Chief of Staff of the Air Force at the Pentagon in Arlington as well. He has commanded at the squadron and wing levels as commander of the 451st Expeditionary Operations Support Squadron, Kandahar, Afghanistan, Vice Commander, 52nd Fighter Wing, Spangdahlem Air Force Base, Germany, Commander, 8th Fighter Wing, Kunsan Air Force Base, South of Korea. His resume keeps going on with that, but I think that's pretty good. But I can't not mention this. He has over 3,300 flight hours in the T-37, T-38, AT-38, and the F-16 with over 600 combat hours. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce you to the Director, Electromagnetic Spectrum Superiority, Headquarters, Air Force, Pentagon, Virginia, Brigadier General Tad D. Clark.
All right, first of all, those words were too kind, and I think Cliffy, you could have summed that up as that guy's really old. I was just like, oh my gosh, that was like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Well, listen, it is an honor to be here. There's some folks I want to make sure that we call out, and Cliffy did a wonderful job of recognizing so many special people in this room, and I would like to do the same in a moment. But before I do, I want to let you know why I think it's such an honor to be here. Because it's really easy to say that. But in truth, this feels like home to me. First, I'm looking at 18 of our newest CSOs that are about to graduate here. This is very, very special. I would ask that everyone in the room during this ceremony be deliberate and take a moment just to savor this event. As you proceed through your career, there are certain milestones and achievements that are worth thinking about, reflecting on, and remembering. This is one of them. This is a very special moment. So I'm very proud as we proceed with this ceremony. This is a remarkable event. And the other reason why this is special to be here is, for those that don't know, my father was in the United States Navy. And in fact, he reported here in 1970 in Training Squadron Traron 10, the Wildcats, in 1970 as he was preparing to go off to Vietnam. And my father was a naval flight officer. So there's that heritage here. My father was a bombardier navigator, later went on the next year to the A-6A intruder, flying combat missions off the USS Midway in Yankee Station in Vietnam. And regretfully, he and his pilot, at that time Lieutenant Michael T. McCormick, my father was Lieutenant J.G. Robert Allen Clark, they went missing in action, but fortunately we found his remains in 2003, and they're buried together at Arlington National Cemetery, which was very special for his shipmates and clearly our family. But I share that with you because I come from a family heritage, number one, of the naval connection, but my father was a naval flight officer. And although the naval flight officer and how that relates to how we categorize and name our naming convention in the Air Force isn't exactly the same, in a way that it's just very special to be here, to be part of both the Air Force and the Navy as we look forward to the future in terms of being in the rated aeronautical business. And so this is a very special chapter in your life as you begin your career. So I wanted to start off with that because, again, I want you to know from a very sincere and genuine perspective, I just feel so honored to be here, to be with you, to share in this moment with you. But let me just take time just to say thank you to some individuals that really played an instrumental role in making today so far, and will continue to make it such a special occasion. And that, of course, is starting off with our Honor Guard. And our Honor Guard today drove down here from Eglin Air Force Base. And I just think that's remarkable that they pack up, they move out, they make their way out here to be a part, to give honor to our flag, and to be part of today's event. I also want to say thank you to our chaplain, Lieutenant Commander Daniel Clark. There's no relation, but I want to say thank you for your invocation. Our narrator, Captain Savannah Bailey. Being a narrator is never an easy task, and so I just want to say thank you to Savannah for that. I also want to say thank you to Captain Nicholas Stein, call sign Walken, who's standing in the back, making sure everything's running smooth. He put this together as the graduation officer. There's a lot of details, and clearly COVID does not make that an easy planning process either, so thank you, Walken, for your time. And of course, our protocol team is always behind the scenes making things happen, and that's Mrs. Bedford, and I just want to say thank you for all that you've done to make today a very special event. I know that Cliffy walked through our DVs, but I do want to say a special thank you to Admiral Kozid, Captain Sterling Gillum, Sterles, who I had a chance to meet just a moment ago. So again, Admiral Kozad, Captain Gillum, Captain Denkler, and then our honorary commanders. And as a former squadron and wing commander, our honorary commanders do so much, often behind the scenes, for the care and feeding and well-being of our people. And I just want to say thank you. So to Mr. Hamilton, Mr. Bridges, and Mr. DeBusk, and I know we have two others that aren't here with us, but I just want to say thank you. And can we give a round of applause for all of our DVs, please? And every parent and spouse, of course, is important. I'm going to get to that in a second, but we do have three that I'd like to call out, and that's Chief Master Sergeant Hernandez. Chief, where are you? It is great to see you. So I saw Colonel Todd Dyer last week at Nellis when I was there for WebTAC, and he said for me to track you down. So I just want to say thank you, and I'd like to say hi to you after the ceremony if I could, please. We have Colonel Bush. Colonel Bush, where are you, sir? Sir, welcome. Thank you. And we have Colonel Salusta. Sir, so, gentlemen, thank you for being here. I know you're very proud of what's to come here as we pass out some wings and aeronautical orders. Okay. I also want to take time to recognize three categories of individuals. The first is a cadre. Cadre, can you please just stand up for a moment, please? If we have, they're probably back training and so forth. Okay, so the cadre is key, and if you recall, the 19th Air Force commander marked this year, this calendar year 2022, as the year of the instructor, and I appreciate Colonel O'Brien for sharing that with me, but the fact of the matter is, it is not easy to be cadre, the instructors. Diverse portfolio, pressure to produce on time. You have to be patient. You have to understand how certain students learn. Some are visual, some are hands-on, some are audio. You have to adapt to those learning cycles. And you have to flex, and you have to be patient. You have to find new ways to teach a particular technique or skill set or lesson if the first approach is not working and if it's not effective. That is not an easy task. And students, and for the graduates here that are about to graduate, you know that that takes a considerable amount of work and dedication. And I'm sure you've formed some wonderful relationships, and you've identified with certain instructors that you really connect with, and you want to embody those leadership traits. If you haven't done this already, I would recommend each of you, as you graduate today, if it's in a long journal entry or just on the back of a napkin, jot down a couple things as you reflect on your time here to include an instructor or two that embody the skills and the techniques and personality and communication traits that you want to embody in your career. Very, very important. And remember their names, so that when you're all chiefs of staff of the Air Force, you can recall on those people that were a part of your life in the formative years of your life, okay? But thank you to our cadre. The last thing I'll say about our cadre is you cannot surge experience. Oftentimes we've heard about surging capability for combat effectiveness. You can't surge experience. 1 hour in the air takes an hour to get, okay? And that's an hour of airmanship, an hour of decision making, and so forth. You can't surge experience, and so you bring in a cadre here with experience, and now you can draw upon that. I would like to then transition to our families, and Colonel Bryan did such a wonderful job to recognize our families. But here's the deal, and Colonel Bryan said it. The graduates sitting up here today, the 18 of these wonderful, capable officers, could not do what they have been doing and are preparing to do without your support. And there are a lot of sacrifices that come with that. And regretfully, there'll be a lot of sacrifices to come. Missed birthdays, missed anniversaries, deployments, late nights, exercises, planning. And I see Colonel Salusta shaking his head, and that it's absolutely, and those that have served in before and are currently serving, we know this, you know this, but it has to be recognized. We have to say it. We have to identify that this is an important part, your support, but it's so key, it's so appreciated. And as you've entrusted your spouses and friends and family and loved ones to us as airmen in our Air Force, it is our responsibility as a service to equip them and train them and prepare them, but also care for them and care for you. That's so critical. So thank you very much. Our graduates, the 18 of all of you that you're wearing your service dress probably, for the second time when you're commissioned and then you get your wings. And, it's funny when you look through your career, we wear this service dress for special events. And we're all in our service dress this time, and you all look fantastic, and I'm so proud of you. But I just want to say, this is a reflection, today is a reflection of the hard work, determination, the grit that you've poured into this program. There were nights that you were studying and staying up late, I'm sure, getting ready for evaluations and check rides, knowing that there's an evaluator standing over your shoulder and you're going to be graded. And there's a lot on the line, right? And so that's not lost on me. I know that this is very much of what your experience has been these last several months, and today is a day to celebrate that. So well done. Well, I will share just a few comments. The majority of my comments were what I just walked through, because it is most important to recognize people. Okay, mission is mission. And my whole life, our lives, are so focused on mission and capability, but what's most important is our people. People. All right, so we're going to talk about a couple things here in a second, but I will exercise some brevity. I do want to just share a few moments, a couple minutes of comments with you. And the theme I want to leave you with, because you're not going to remember a word I said, probably an hour from now, certainly not months and years down the road, but what I want you to remember is how you feel, okay? And I'm sure you've heard that before. You don't remember what was said, but you remember what you feel. I want you to feel connected and part of something special. And the reason why I say part of something special, it goes back to teamwork, and teamwork is something clearly that you've all had to rely on to get through this program. But I want to do is, I am a firm believer that words mean things, and teamwork is an important word. But I want you to elevate it up to the next level of solidarity. So solidarity is the word I want to focus on today. I want to drive in teamwork with a little more deliberate effect of solidarity. And solidarity is so important because you see, as you started this program on day one, you all showed up at a certain point in time, looking to your right and to your left, and not all those people that are here today were the people that you saw on day one looking right and the left, because as you track select, your class on day one starts to diverge in terms of the different timelines that are associated with our 4 tracks as navigators, weapon systems operators, special operations officers, and electronic warfare officers. So you get tracked, and then your timeline starts to deviate from what the original day was, and then you find yourselves here on today, 21st of January 2022, graduating with a wonderful group, but not necessarily the group you started off when you reported to Pensacola. And that's an important thing, because what happens is as that group becomes smaller and smaller, and you find yourself in one of those specialties, you then look around and you start forming a sense of camaraderie and teamwork, but also an identity. And that's only going to be, it's only going to continue, because as you walk away from this program and you go on to your weapon systems, which are the ones that are represented by the 18 of you, B-52s, F-15Es, RC-135s, U-28s, E-3s, B-1s, and EC-130s, you're going to be further narrowed down into those specific weapon systems. But what's important to remember, and I really want to highlight this, is you are all part of something more important than being defined by a weapon system, or whether you're a navigator or a WISO. You are combat systems officers. And I am here to remind you and highlight and emphasize, in the Pentagon right now, there is great emphasis placed on those who we have trained to operate complex systems, emerging technologies from different communities. You are all, in my opinion, the most important community as we move forward in the 21st century warfare. And I mean that. The things that you've been exposed to and trained with are going to be critical in the future fight. Now, we've done some wonderful, wonderful work, and unfortunately have lost blood and treasure, too many, in Afghanistan, Iraq, and in the Middle East. But we needed to be there, and we served honorably. And I suspect we'll still be called to serve in that area from time to time. But as you know, we are now shifting our focus to strategic competitors like Russia and China. And so the fight that we're preparing for, that we hope we never have to fight, but if and when called upon to do so, it's going to be a high-end, technology-driven, artificial intelligence, machine learning, software-driven type of battle space. And when I think of all those attributes and being able to operate in that environment, complexity, digital, electromagnetic spectrum, waveforms, information, data links, you are all at the core of that. And so this solidarity that I'm talking about is I need you to walk away from here being proud of your discipline, being proud of your weapon system, but remembering that you collectively, the 18 of you, are actually all CSOs, combat systems officers, and you are going to make an impact on our future. And the challenge I have for you is as you branch out in your career, first take the time to be the subject matter experts in your tradecraft. Be the best that you possibly can. Take time to study. Commit yourselves to that. But don't lose sight of the family and friends and loved ones around you that need your attention as well. But when you're in your workspace, commit yourself to be the best you possibly can, so that when you are in an environment where, whether it's an exercise or on the battle space, you then can be a wonderful representative of what you are currently doing, but then you also know when you look across the room, whether you're in the mission planning cell, in the squadron, on the flight line, in the battle space, deployed, in the CAOC, wherever you may be, you know how to pull people in from different communities, different areas of expertise. Talk, listen, ask questions. Don't be the first person to speak, be the first person to listen, think, collaborate, integrate, and then that's what winning looks like. Bringing people together, integration, and that solidarity of you're part of something even bigger, United States Air Force, Department of Defense, and that's how we win. So solidarity is a very, very important word. It relates to all phases in life, and it starts right here. I guess my theme is here, the solidarity piece is, don't be defined by your one weapon system and your one discipline. Think bigger. CSO, officer, Air Force, Department of Defense, be a subject matter expert, and then find people and bring them in, collaborate, work together, exercising teamwork and solidarity so we can win. So I'll end on this. I completely went off my notes, but I was just starting to feel led and passionate about, I just wanted to communicate those things to you. The thing is I need you all to understand that in order for us to win, we need people to embody all the attributes our Air Force is looking for. And what our Air Force is looking to do is shift to those more sophisticated, complex systems, as I mentioned. You all have received a wonderful, wonderful portfolio of capability and technologies, high-end technical skill sets. You are prized. You are valued. We need you. You matter. You are doing something honorable. You're going to make an impact, and we appreciate the fact that you're willing to serve. And again, this goes to our 18 graduates. I'm so proud of you. This goes to our families. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you to our cadre that took the time to train you. Thank you to our wonderful honorary commanders that take time to care and feed for our squadrons here. and then for the senior naval leadership that try to make sure that the environment is an environment we can learn, flourish, succeed, so we can win. So as you prepare to come up on the stage and get a whole bunch of things to take home and display proudly, aeronautical orders and your wings, of course, that you'll wear proudly, cherish this moment, savor this moment, bottle this moment, reflect on this moment, journal a couple thoughts and feelings about this moment. This is a pivotal moment in your life. So as you get your wings pinned on, whether it be a friend, I saw some friends will be pinning others on, some spouses will be pinning your wings on, some parents will be pinning your wings on. That's a very special moment. Remember it, and remember that we're so proud of you. So again, it was an honor to be with you today, and I can't think of any other place I want to be right now. I want to be right here, savor this moment. I just want to say thank you for your service, and thank you all for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, General Clark, for those words. Graduates, I hope that you were listening wholeheartedly, because before you know it, you are going to be the experienced crew members leading the charge against our nation's adversaries. Now, without further ado, will the first row of graduates please stand? In just a few moments, each graduate will be called forward to receive some very significant items. First, graduates will receive the certificates of aeronautical ranking. These certificates are legal documentation that authorize a CSO to operate and employ aviation combat systems in the defense of our freedom. The certificate also represents the trust and confidence being placed in the graduates by the leaders of our nation. Each graduate will also receive the coveted CSO wings. These silver wings will make the graduates instantly recognizable as members of the elite community of military aviators. Having completed the required course of training, the following officers are awarded the aeronautical ranking of Combat Systems Officer. Second Lieutenant Edgar M. Acevedo Bonabuelos. Lieutenant Acevedo is from San Antonio, Texas, and will be going to fly the B-52 out of Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana. Lieutenant Acevedo will be pinned by his mother, Lydia, and fiance, Abram. Congratulations, Lieutenant Acevedo. Second Lieutenant Jonathan T. Baker. Lieutenant Baker is from Havasu City, Arizona, and will be going to fly the F-15 out of Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, North Carolina. Lieutenant Baker will be pinned by his wife, Mackenzie. Congratulations, Lieutenant Baker. Second Lieutenant Logan C. Baldwin. Lieutenant Baldwin is from Weatherford, Texas, and will be going to fly the B-52 out of Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana. Lieutenant Baldwin will be pinned by his wife, Alyssa. Congratulations, Lieutenant Baldwin. Second Lieutenant Leanna M. Bush. Lieutenant Bush is from Tucson, Arizona, and will be going to fly the B-52 out of Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana. Lieutenant Bush will be pinned by her mother, Colleen, and her father, Colonel Gregory Bush, U.S. Army retired. Congratulations, Lieutenant Bush. Second Lieutenant Charles Butler. Lieutenant Butler is from Winchester, Virginia, and will be going to fly the RC-135 out of Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska. Lieutenant Butler will be pinned by his flight commander, Captain Scott Polson. Congratulations, Lieutenant Butler. Second Lieutenant Kyle Cope. Lieutenant Cope is from Silverdale, Washington, and will be going to fly the RC-135 out of Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska. Lieutenant Cope will be pinned by his prior commander and our guest speaker, General Tad Clark. Congratulations, Lieutenant Cope. Second Lieutenant Madison G. Salusta. Lieutenant Salusta is from Woodland Park, Colorado, and will be going to fly the U-28 out of Hurlburt Field, Florida. Lieutenant Salusta will be pinned by her father, Colonel Mark Salusta, U.S. Air Force retired, and her grandfather, Gordon. Congratulations, Lieutenant Salusta. First Lieutenant Caleb Dorn. Lieutenant Dorn is from Albany, New York, and will be going to fly the B-52 out of Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana. Lieutenant Dorn will be pinned by his parents, Don and Deb. Congratulations, Lieutenant Dorn. Second Lieutenant Raymond Hernandez. Lieutenant Hernandez is from Miami, Florida, and will be going to fly the RC-135 out of Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska. Lieutenant Hernandez will be pinned by his father, Chief Master Sergeant Emilio Hernandez. Congratulations, Lieutenant Hernandez. Second Lieutenant Laura E. Houston. Lieutenant Houston is from Brunsum, the Netherlands, and will be going to fly the E-3 out of Tinker Air Force Base, Oklahoma. Lieutenant Houston will be pinned by her father, Major Greg Houston. Congratulations, Lieutenant Houston. Second Lieutenant Seth Howe. Lieutenant Howe is from Waverly, Nebraska, and will be going to fly the B-52 out of Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana. Lieutenant Howe will be pinned by his favorite instructor, Captain Andy Alexander. Congratulations, Lieutenant Howe. Second Lieutenant Jack F. Marsjanek. Lieutenant Marsjanek is from Newton, Massachusetts, and will be going to fly the RC-135 out of Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska. Lieutenant Marsjanek will be pinned by his wife, Jillian, and father, Donald. Congratulations, Lieutenant Marsjanek. First Lieutenant Kevin R. McNeely. Lieutenant McNeely is from Las Cruces, New Mexico, and will be going to fly the B-1 out of Dyess Air Force Base, Texas. Lieutenant McNeely will be pinned by his wife, Stephanie, and mother, Anita. Congratulations, Lieutenant McNeely. Second Lieutenant Brian S. Naker. Lieutenant Naker is from Saratoga Springs, New York, and will be going to fly the U-28 out of Hurlburt Field, Florida. Lieutenant Naker will be pinned by his parents, Dan and Laura. Congratulations, Lieutenant Naker. Second Lieutenant Rachel K. Pitts. Lieutenant Pitts is from Pensacola, Florida, and will be going to fly the RC-135 out of Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska. Lieutenant Pitts will be pinned by her parents, Heike and Tony. Congratulations, Lieutenant Pitts. Second Lieutenant Catherine M. Sabagal. Lieutenant Sabagal is from Brooklyn, New York, and will be going to fly the U-28 out of Hurlburt Field, Florida. Lieutenant Sabagal will be pinned by her brother, Stephen. Congratulations, Lieutenant Sabagal. Second Lieutenant Oscar R. Sun. Lieutenant Sun is from Tampa, Florida, and will be going to fly the EC-130 out of Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, Arizona. Lieutenant Sun will be pinned by his father, Bien Shun, and his mother, Li Jin. Congratulations, Lieutenant Sun. Second Lieutenant Louis Wong. Lieutenant Wong is from Brooklyn, New York, and will be going to fly the RC-135 out of Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska. Lieutenant Wong will be pinned by his classmate, Lieutenant Dorn. Congratulations, Lieutenant Wong. Congratulations, graduates. You have all taken your first steps in becoming the world's best combat systems officers. You've excelled in your training this far, and that is evident by your aeronautical orders that you've just received. We would now like to recognize the individuals that have demonstrated superior performance throughout combat systems officer training. The prestigious awards given today have been presented to numerous graduates of CSO training in the past, and we are honored to continue that tradition here today at NAS Pensacola. First, the commander, 479th Operations Support Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Jeremy Mayfield, will present the Mike Gilroy Award. This award is presented to the student with the highest overall score in the Electronic Warfare Operations track of CSO training. The recipient of the Mike Gilroy Award is Second Lieutenant Jack F. Marzjanek. Additionally, Lieutenant Marzjanek will receive the Lamb Donovan Electronic Warfare Officer Award presented by Brigadier General Clark for excellence in all aspects of the electronic warfare track of CSO training. Next, the commander, 451st Flying Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Kyle Meyer, will present the Ira J. Husick Award. This award is presented to the graduate with the highest overall score in the navigation track of CSO training. The recipient of the Ira J. Husick Award goes to Second Lieutenant Kyle Cope. Next, the commander, 479th Student Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Catherine Armandi, will present the Air Commando Association Award. This award is presented to the graduate with the highest overall performance in the Special Operations track of CSO training. The recipient of the Air Commando Association Award, along with a one-year membership to the ACA, is Second Lieutenant Brian S. Naker. Next, the Director of Operations, 455th Flying Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Adam Mathias, will present the Paul F. Lawrence Award. This award is presented to the graduate with the highest overall performance in the Weapons Systems Officer track of CSO training. The recipient of the Paul F. Lawrence Award is Second Lieutenant Jonathan Baker. Next, the representing the graduate flight commander, Captain Nicholas Stein, will present the Warrior Award. The winner of this award was chosen by the flight commanders for displaying the highest values of teamwork, knowledge, drive, and sacrifice during CSO training. The recipient of the Warrior Award, along with a one-year membership to the River Rats Association, is Second Lieutenant Brian S. Naker. The commander, 479th Flying Training Group, Colonel William O'Brien, will present the Distinguished Graduates Award. The Distinguished Graduate Award is presented to the students that have finished in the top 10% of their class in CSO training. The distinguished graduate is Second Lieutenant Jonathan Baker. Finally, Brigadier General Tad Clark will present the Air Education Training Command Commander's Trophy. This award is given to the most outstanding graduate of each Combat Systems Officer training class, who has not only demonstrated excellence in all phases of training, but has also demonstrated a high degree of professionalism and leadership. Second Lieutenant Jonathan Baker. Additionally, Lieutenant Baker will be recognized by the Order of Dedallions for his exceptional performance during undergraduate combat systems officer training by Captain Mike Denkler, U.S. Navy retired. The winner of the AETC Commander's Trophy will also receive a one-year free membership in the prestigious Order of Dedallions. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander, 479th Flying Training Group, Colonel William O'Brien, will offer today's closing remarks for today's ceremony.
General Clark, thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule to visit, to teach us and allow us to teach you about our mission here, our unique mission here, and meet our world-class cadre, and especially share your wisdom to our newest graduates. Teamwork and stepping it up to solidarity. Graduates, congratulations, but don't forget why you signed the dotted line and took the oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. You are the future. Set the disciplined and professional example as officers and leaders in our United States Air Force. As combat system officers, you are the mission leaders. You are the integrators, synchronizing our diverse U.S. Air Force technologies, delivering effects on target, on time, anywhere in defense of our great nation. Be ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel O'Brien. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the virtual portion of today's ceremony.